Chapter 5. A few minutes later, Mrs. Feather came back with Zack. I found Reddy, Ben told her. He's back in his cage. Well done, Ben, said Mrs. Feather. Zack shuffled back to his chair. His eyes were red and he wouldn't look at anyone. He was completely silent for the rest of the day. It made a nice change. As soon as the bell rang, Zack went up to Mrs. Feather's desk and gave her something out of his bag. Then he looked at Rose and left the room. Mrs. Feather called Rose over to her desk. Rose was worried. She thought she was going to be told off. I'll wait for you outside, said Ben. But Mrs. Feather didn't tell Rose off. She said, Zack thinks you might like to read this. She held out the book with an alien on the cover. So we'll swap it for Sea Storm, shall we? Yes, please, said Rose. She ran and got Sea Storm out of her bag. Mrs. Feather gave her the alien book. Thanks, Mrs. Feather, said Rose. Don't thank me, thanks Zack, said Mrs. Feather. Oh, said Rose thoughtfully. Okay. She was about to go when Mrs. Feather said, by the way, that was a very good story you told about Invisible Vinnie. Do you think you could make up another one and write it down? Of course, said Rose beaming. When Rose got home, Uncle Vinnie was sitting in the kitchen table with Rose's mom having a cup of tea. Well, you look cheerful, Rose, said her mom. How did you get on with the book? Asked Uncle Vinnie. Brilliantly, said Rose. And she told her mom and her uncle the story of Invisible Vinnie. Uncle Vinnie shook his wild wizard hair and laughed till he cried. You played a trick on me, said Rose sternly. But I forgive you because it worked like magic. The end.